Alright, what is up guys? This is the project of today. We're gonna be replacing this hitch and jack. Customer brought this small trailer to us. They brought a coupler and a jack. So we've got that. You can see here why we're replacing it. It's been up, broke, and anyway, he just wanted it replaced for whatever reason, but I wanted to take a close look at this before I cut into it, just to kind of give some detail for those of you that sometimes wonder about certain ways to go about things. You can see that it's welded here, to these pieces of angle, so that can be, daunting, if you will. Welded, stitch welded here, stitch welded here, and of course around the top. We'll look at that here in a minute. But another thing to consider when it comes to trailers is the wiring. So I've got this pulled back right now, but it's going to get hot. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a zip disc. I'm going to cut this washer nice and careful, making sure I don't cut into the wire. Worst case, I got to replace a short wiring harness, you know what I mean, to do some splicing. But I'm going to try not to mess up the wiring is my point. Cut this washer off, that way I can get it out of the way back to that washer. And then I think I'm also going to cut these safety chains off. Maybe not. I don't know. My goal is always to try to do a little bit more than the customer asked for. So for instance, there's a bend in this piece right here, so I kind of want to fix that while it's here, even though they didn't ask. And like I said, I'm not sure. I kind of want to change out these, move these safety chains back, but I may not. He actually had them wired up right here, so I don't know how often he uses them. But so anyway, because I'm gonna have to cut up here too. Like I was saying, it's seam welded over here and here. And to make this somewhat easier, one good thing is because we got a new coupler, a new hitch, so we don't have to worry about saving this one. So that's a plus. But the most complicated part, in my opinion, of this project is getting, cutting it on the overhead side. So what I'm going to use is this guy right here. This is called a scarfing tip, and I've got it on a straight attachment. You notice this head is straight versus a 90 right here. It's straight out. That has just always proven to be a little more easier to get in certain areas, because you can put a scarfing tip in a regular 90-degree head. You don't have to have this 180. But I learned this from guys I was working with on drilling rigs years ago, and I'm glad I did, because it's super handy. If you're curious about what a scarfing tip is and the difference between a scarfing tip and just a curved cutting tip, we've actually made a video here on the channel. If you want to go check it out, I actually cut into two brand new tips, a scarfing tip and a bent cutting tip, to find out what's literally the difference inside, because I was just curious myself. But the whole idea of a scarfing tip is real similar to arc gouging. The whole idea is just to be able to wash away your weld and not get into your base metal. Not, what is up, K-Ron? Where have you been, Miss K-Ron? Karen. She must not be in the mood to talk. But yeah, is to wash away a weld without getting into your base metal, or at least as less as possible. Scarfing tip will help with that. Just the way it's built, it helps with that. So anyway, that's what I'm primarily going to be using. Probably a zip disc and this guy to cut this coupler off. But like I said, first things first, I'm going to cut off this washer and pull these wires back a little further. We don't take a risk of burning them. By the way, I know that these grinding discs with nuts on them, this is a zip disc, this is even more expensive. I know grinding discs with the nuts on them are more expensive, especially zip disc, but in my opinion, it is well worth the money spent, and it's safer to, it's better for a lot of reasons. It's safer and it's quicker. So if a guy is just to prioritize better quality of tools and just reflect that in your price, in other words, include it in your price, that way your business can afford to buy quality consumables like this. In my opinion, it's way better because you're adding value to your customer that way. You know what I mean? You're quicker, you're safer. It's just there's so many reasons why it's worth it to me to buy consumables with the screw-on nuts instead of the having to use the little washers. But even for a DIY person, I think it's just, again, it's safer, it's quicker, it's easier. It's like, I think about DIY folks because of the YouTube channel. Those of you that, you know what I mean, are always looking for easier ways to do said thing. And this is one of those little hacks, in my opinion, and it's so easy as a DIYer to not want to spend that much money. But you could also argue that you don't do this very often, so why not spend extra money on one of these right here? You could buy one of these and it would last a DIY person forever. You know what I mean? So, like, not forever, depending on what you're doing. And it's just way safer, quicker, user friendly. I mean, it's just a win-win all the way around, in my opinion. I think a lot of the reason why a lot of us, because I'm very guilty as well, we have this expectation that a grinding disc or a flat disc cost gobs of money, and we think it should last forever. And so we're like, well, I don't want to spend that because it's a consumable. Like, it's a mindset. To me, that was kind of rambling, but what I'm getting at is, to me, in my opinion, what I've learned about myself, and I would assume it's the same for some of you, is that it's a shortage mindset. You want your consumables to last forever. You don't want to spend that much money on them. And if we can get out of that rut and think bigger, think way bigger, it's actually better and more quality of a life, quality of a product, safer, all the nine. You just spend a little more money and just make that the standard. You know what I mean? Don't just think in your head. Here's a kind of a simple way that helps me. Like, I just think to myself that this is all they offer. If you think about it like that, then your whole world changes. Like, if this is all they offer, if this is all you can get a hold of, then this is what you gotta. Everything else has to work with this price. As far as the money side of things. Like, if this is how much it costs to buy a zip disc, then I need to bump my hourly rate up $2 an hour or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, bump it up. You don't have to go $10. You don't have to go $100 higher just because you spent $5 more on a zip disc. You just add it into your price. So anyway, that's get off my soapbox now and continue to get the scarf and tip out and go to hacking and a whacking. Y'all are gonna like this. See it open up. It's cutting out the weld. It's not cutting out the base metal. All right, now it's time to do a little sanding, maybe a little more scarfing, get some of this weld off. Then we'll be ready to put the new one on. All right, got her all cleaned up. Now I'm gonna take this wire brush and brush this paint off. And I don't know if I even want to weld it on the inside. I really don't think it's necessary. I think just with some hard wire or some 7018 stitch weld it like they did for this little trailer. I think it's really all a guy needs. You know, we're gonna be welding it on top here. Put a couple of stitch weld it. You know, one here, and one here. Really all you need. Keep it simple. You know. Just put a quality weld. There ain't no reason to weld it down underneath there, I don't think. I think I just need to take the clamp and pull it back. Yeah, that might be what I do. You betcha, boys. You betcha. And I think I'm going to use my stick welder instead of my MIG welder because I got a fan going here in the shop. It's a little bit warm, and I just like the better air quality, you know. I like it cooler. If I had my MIG welder, I'd have to shut my doors to keep the gas from being blown away. Stick welder, I ain't got to worry about that. All right, got her all welded on. Lengthen the safety chains a bit. Hot diggity.